Welcome to the 18 Demon Claw podcast, where we discuss everything Kung Fu, philosophy, healing, spirituality, magic, and much more. And you're listening to the Last Emperor, the Lord General, the one and only SIFU.
What's good, warriors? Welcome back to an 18 Demon Claw podcast. I'm SIFU Gary Herefield, and this is episode 4, and it's on the Primordial Chaos One Chi Palm system, which is a tower system passed down to my SIFU from his Grandmaster Lo Chi Wan. I got to learn this system after my Yokomun SIFU passed away. It is an absolute beautiful Taoist art, and it originates from the teachings of Lao Tzu, and it contains knowledge of all Taoist alchemy, cosmology, numerology. There's so much in this, but it is so intricate. It will keep you studying, researching, and training, cultivating, and constantly developing the art. To me, this art is one of the last of the mystery schools of Taoism. Primordial chaos gave birth to all. So this was before, primordial chaos is before the Wu Ji and Yin Yang. So this art does not share any similarities to you see of the so-called internal arts, where, just say for instance, Tai Chi, right, or Tai Chi, right, they roll back and press in. They their stance goes forward to 70-30 and they shift back on so that's now a yin yang concept. But in One Yun, we do not change our center. We do not lean or decline. It is a complete mind fuck. It's a trip. And what I mean by that is truly is a trip, because once you I'm going to actually say all the sections in English. There's 64 sections, but when I do say them, have a listen and see what comes to your mind when I'm saying it, because the way I was taught and the way I do teach is each section has its vibration, its frequency, right, that we're tapping into. I have had multiple out-of-body experiences, and so did my SIFU, and we used to talk a lot. And there was one time I emailed SIFU because I had such an experience. I was a ranger in one part of my working career, and I found a spot in this area where I was in between the trees, and so I started practicing, and I had this out of body experience where I was actually floating above the treetops, and then someone contacted me on my radio, and I fell so hard into my body that I actually jolted, and I felt my back full on jolt. Like I've fallen off out of a tree. Like, it was so bizarre. So I told SIFU, I gave him an email, and he wrote back, and he said that he's had the same type of experiences. And one thing he said is not to stay out for too long because other spirits can come in while you are out of body. So that's just a little thing there. But the intricacies of this art is unbelievable. My SIFU was also, before he learnt the One Yun system, he was Luka Buffet, the water boxing, or 6 Harmony 8 method boxing that he learnt from Lo Chi Wan. But before that, in his early days, he was a Buxin Choi Li Fat fighter, and he trained with the Grandmaster in Hong Kong, and he was known as one of the Panthers of Choi Li Fat. And he had friends here in Australia, Master, I think Dave Lacey, and his brother. I think they're in Melbourne. They used to catch up and talk, but SIFU, the reason why he left Choi Li Fat is he got injured at one stage, if I can remember correctly, and he went to many different teachers to try and get healed, and he couldn't get healed. So someone said there's this new teacher from China that learnt the water boxing. So he went there and he did acupuncture and something on him, and he ended up getting better with his health. And then Lo Chi Wan Sigong asked him if he wanted to learn the water boxing, and he became a SIFU in the water boxing. After he learnt that, he was chosen the only person to learn the One Yun Yat Hei Jung from Lo Chi Wan, the SIFU. There are 64 sections to this form, and each section has a multiple of movements. So it's not just one strike and that's it. There's an actual, like a routine, and it's all in one. These 64 sections has a four character words for the names, and there's the secret One Yun poetry of 7 characters to tell you all about the alchemy, how to play the system, and whatnot. But today I want to share a little bit about and talk about the form itself of those 64 sections, and I want you to see what comes to your mind when I say the sections, because when you're doing it, those 4 words, or 4 characters, can become like a mantra, right? If I say it in Chinese, right, have a listen. I'll just say a few of them. Wan Yun Cho Hoi, Hong Mun Kei Tai, Wong Lung Dung Ying, Hei Chung Sam Ho. Right? So there's a tone and a rhythm. Absolutely love it. And if you say it and it becomes like a mantra. But that's something that my students will have to practice and try to figure out. But it's a beautiful system, a beautiful form, and of course there's sensitivity training, there's standing meditation, seated meditation, energy correcting, massaging, and much more. There's a fighting aspect as well, that when I trained with SIFU, just for the fighting aspects, I'll just share this little exercise. He would put the boxing gloves on, or a student would, and I had to stand there but not move my feet and have no hands. So I had to put my hands behind my back and then I'd have to try and slip, dodge, move, use my body and upper body, duck, weave, all part of body defensive techniques and skills. And then one hand versus two hand fighting, lead hand or rear hand, and so forth. And it was such a good time. SIFU had this ability of being, he was probably one of the most relaxed and softest teachers I've ever witnessed do any of the so-called internal. Remember, I don't believe there's internal, external, just Kung Fu. It's either doing it slow and relaxed or you're doing it fast with other purposes. When you start getting into the system, like I said, there's numerology and stuff like that. And when you go 4 times 64, you get 256. And once you get into the therapy of vibration, like tuning forks or Tibetan singing bowls, 256 hertz is a strong vibe that calms the body, awakens the root chakra, according to the Schumann therapy. I think that's the right name, can't remember. But it awakens and relaxes the consciousness. It brings it to life and relaxes at the same time. So we light with frequency and with vibration at the same time. That's what we're made up of. And by doing the one yun, we're connecting back to the Tao, the primordial state. And that's the beauty of this system. I've not taught many people this. I also learnt about just over halfway of the water boxing after I learnt the one yun. But I said the SIFU, I just prefer the one yun over water boxing any day. It's just on a different league to me. Two beautiful arts, and SIFU also understood. That's another story. But let's go through the whole 64 of the names of each section. And remember, because this was designed in a Taoist way by Taoists themselves, every section, you can find it right throughout all Taoist alchemy text as well as canons. It's such a deep system of Taoist knowledge just within all these names as well. So let's go through. So when we start the form, it's the emergence of the chaotic origin. Peace born from great vastness. Cloud dragon appears in the east. Chi reverberates throughout the rivers and mountains. The two divisions begin to form. Whirlwind sweeps away the leaves. Heavenly horses change direction. 3 stars shine in conjunction. The 4 manifestations appear. Rotation of the universe. 10,000 horses gallop energetically. Movement of the stars and moon. The spirit dragon contracts its bones, stealing peaches from beneath the leaves. 1 pillar to hold heaven aloft. Sounds of the flute entice butterflies. Momentum like shooting stars. Wildcat chases the rabbit. Reverse the course of the heavenly river. The beautiful maiden presents flowers. Ferocious tiger exits the forest. Spirit ape observes the moon. The dragon calls over the azure seas. Hoof traces in spring. 2 phoenixes return to the nest. Axle turns like a wheel. Leopard in the mist concentrates its attention. Rocks thrown into the forest. The grand stallion pulls on the bit. Ferocious tiger scores the hills. The guardian god holds the seal. Confusion throughout. Clouds conceal heaven and earth. The great eagle spreads its wings. Spirit dragon courses through the void. Willow in the wind. Row the boat against the current. The green dragon delves into the sea. Turn around and straddle the tiger. The woodcutter asks the way. The lion toys with the ball. Rain splatters the lotus leaves. The red phoenix faces the sunrise. Glance like a startled swan. A falcon fallen amidst the chickens. The plough scores the caves. Using the stick to stir the seas, the fisherman cast his net. The cloud dragon appears 5 times. The crane delivers the message. The hungry tiger tears open its prey. Lotus kick on a low posture. One's will reaches out to the southern mountains. One spirit penetrates as far as the North Star. Pear flowers cover one's crown. The black dragon stirs the river. The hungry tiger lets out a frightening roar. One walks to heaven on a stairway of clouds. The fierce tiger jumps over the gorge. The sleek serpent swims in water. The heron flies undaunted. The spirit suffuses the universal realms. 10,000 signs in manifestation return to the void. Chi returns to its one origin. That is the 64. Aren't they beautiful? I mean, seriously, when you're learning it, you go on a journey. And there's references right through this with the names. For instance, the wood chopper asked the way. There's a story about that in Taoism. There's many, many stories within all those names. If you got the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you'll be able to find so much within all Taoism, within the one Yun Gong. The emergence of chaotic origin, peace born from great vastness. The cloud dragon appears in the east. So now we're getting into the creation story, Genesis. We know that on the Bakwa, thunder is also east and belongs to the dragon. Also, in esoteric language, it's the sunrise. Chi reverberates throughout the rivers and mountains. Is not just the physical world, but the rivers and mountains is within the body of muscle, veins, your blood, and liquid. It's a beautiful art. The poetry is unbelievable as well. And there's a lot here that I'll have to go into deeper. But what did you think of the 64 section names? Did it take you on a little journey in your mind? Because it does for me. Anyway, that's all for today. There's so much more I'll talk about later. It's better when I've got someone here that I can demonstrate or talk about and break it down using the combat of those moves. Tau bliss, until next time, peace!
Welcome to the 18 Demon Claw Podcast, where we discuss everything Kung Fu, philosophy, healing, spirituality, magic, and much more. And you're listening to the Last Emperor, the Lord General, the one and only SIFU.